Well, I have a question about something we both have in common. We both made Super 8 films growing up, and of course those budgets were always a little bit restrictive.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. I remember one time I got the local police to drive a car through one of the scenes. What kind of accomplishments were you particularly proud of in your Super 8 filmmaking days?
Well, you know, we went and I did this one movie where my character, I was often cast in those movies, was lost in the mall. I had this memory of when I was a child and I was lost in the mall, and so I had my little cousin who looks a lot like me play me, and he gets lost. And of course you can't record the fronts of Victoria's Secret and the Gap and all this without permission. And so, you know, the mall security came over and said, you know, can't do it. And I said, you know, so this is my first, like, I'm a filmmaker, damn it, I have things I have to do. And so, you know, I was whatever, 15 or whatever, and we just ran around and the security guys would chase us and I'd go, quick, and you're scared, and now come on, now hide, and let's go, hurry, hurry. And then one time I was hanging out, someone was driving the car for me, and because I was too young to drive in, I was hanging out the window to get the real cool wheel shot from Starsky and Hutch, and the cops pulled up and were like, what's happening here? There's a child hanging out the window with a camera, and it's all right, officer, making a film.
Oh, okay then.
Continue.
Okay. Well, graduating to the bigger leagues, the first time you took a meeting at a Hollywood studio, now what kind of game face did you put on, and just how intimidated were you?
Well, you know, it's funny you should say that, because things, you know, I only come out here every 6 months or every year, so I see these exponential jumps in how I'm received, you know? And the first time I came out, I stayed with my in-laws, my cousin-in-laws, who I never met. I stayed in their guest room, and I didn't know them, and I was just nervous. I was totally nervous, and I had meetings to meet people. So I went to Universal, which was my first meeting, got there, and they were moving these huge tropical plants from Jurassic Park, which I didn't know what that was at the time, and I was like, and they went by, and I parked, breathing hard, got out of the car, and the executive that I was meeting goes, "Hi, are you Knight?" And I said, "Yeah," and I closed the door, the car's running, keys are in the car, and I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, "Did you just lock your keys in your car?" And I'm like, yeah, and the car's running, and they had the whole meeting was just us calling security on the Universal lot to jimmy the car open. I locked my keys in my car 3 times. 3 times that trip. 3 meetings, 3 times. I got so nervous. And so it was, you know, and I went home and didn't have any deals, didn't have anything like that. Went home and my wife said, "Well, how'd it go?" "Well, you know, went all right."
Well, turning to this movie, surreal moments on the set when you have these people who are victims and are in heavy blood makeup and disfigurement. How bizarre is that on the set to see those people walking around in between takes?
The best is when you have lunch in the cafeteria, and you know, and people with their heads blown off and things are like, "This is great cake. Knight, did you eat the chocolate cake?" And their heads blown off, and you're just like, okay. We had one scene that's not in the movie is him looking, and he looks out his window in the hospital, and it was gonna be so great. I just couldn't execute it properly. He looks out the window and sees all these ghosts in the windows, and so we had like 30 people in like really, you know, all different states, and we had lunch with all of them, and so it was like some freak show at lunchtime. You know, you're sitting there, and next to you is this lady or this guy with chest thing, you know, ripped open chest cage and things like that. It was some bizarre dream.
Now, your young co-star, you know, I think a lot of people would be a little hesitant about, you know, how much a child actor can handle. Bruce Willis, I mean, what did you talk to him about before the two met? I mean, was Bruce confident that it would all go well with the...
Well, both of us, Bruce and I, had made films with kids before, so we understood the importance of a professional, first of all, you know, and how difficult this challenge was going to be, you know, on all of us. We didn't realize we were going to get, like, the greatest actor child that we'd ever seen before, but when we were thinking about it, it was a big deal on all of our minds and the budget. Could we do this film? Could we really do this film? Because the role was so intense and the dialogue was so much for this child. Could you find somebody to handle that? Man, I don't know what we would have done.
Well, were there ever times when you felt sorry for the cast in this film?
Not really, I guess, because I'm the director, but probably when we did The Cold Room, when we built a big cold room and we had to freeze everybody, and so that their breaths would come out, and you know, Haley had to wear underwear in that scene, and that was pretty tough to watch. And you know, we only had him in there for a good 30 seconds, 45 seconds at a time to get a couple lines and then move him out. But it was, he went through a lot.
And last question, I've always been fascinated with test screenings.
Yeah.
What kind of changes have you made, say, to this film as a
Right.
result of a test screening?
This movie has been really a smooth process. I mean, the script is the movie, and it's really gone in a smooth way. It was, you know, there's a lot of surprises in the movie, and whether they would see them coming, or whether they can appreciate them, or whether it would just, it's so overwhelming, the things that they find out in the movie, that they just can't deal with it. And seeing what the percentages are, you know, with that, and who it affected, you know. What we found out that was amazing was that the young boys and older women were loving it at equal levels, and everyone in between at equal levels. It was just a fun, one of the funnest times I had was watching the movie with a preview audience. It was just a great time.